In last week's episode of Laughing Place Pulse, we covered the news of the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge timeline expansion at Disneyland. And a day later, we got official confirmation of a long-rumored leadership change at Lucasfilm. So with a big week of Star Wars news behind us, let's take a look at the immediate future of Lucasfilm under the Walt Disney Company in this week's installment of LP Pulse. Last Thursday, January 15th, Lucasfilm and its parent company Disney officially announced that effective pretty much immediately, Kathleen Kennedy would be stepping down from her role as president of Lucasfilm, and that the company's chief creative officer Dave Filoni and president and general manager of business Lin-Wen Brennan would be her successors. As you may know, Dave Filoni came from an animation background, serving as a director and storyboard artist on Nickelodeon's acclaimed series Avatar: The Last Airbender. He was first hired by George Lucas himself in 2005 to help develop the Star Wars: The Clone Wars animated series and build Lucasfilm Animation from the ground up. From there, Filoni went on to co-create Star Wars Rebels in 2014, Star Wars Resistance in 2018, and the Clone Wars spin-off Star Wars The Bad Batch in 2021. When filmmaker Jon Favreau was brought aboard to create the live-action Star Wars series The Mandalorian for Disney+, he was partnered with Dave Filoni by then-President Kathleen Kennedy. The pair went on to make 3 seasons of The Mandalorian together, plus its spin-offs The Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and Skeleton Crew. And with Dave Filoni now fully in charge of the creative side of Lucasfilm, corporate executive Lin-Wen Brennan will manage the business end. She started off at Lucasfilm's in-house visual effects department, Industrial Light and Magic, in 1999, and then became its president in 2009. 6 years later, she was promoted to general manager of Lucasfilm itself, and then became the company's executive vice president just 2 years ago. Her new position as co-president of the company marks the pinnacle of an impressive climb to the top over 2.5 decades. As to future content coming from the company, today Lucasfilm revealed that the trailer for its upcoming new animated series Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord will officially be released tomorrow, and I'm guessing a release date for the Disney Plus show will come along with it. Maul Shadow Lord was first announced by Dave Filoni himself at Star Wars Celebration 2025 in Japan, and it will focus on the character of Maul, voiced once again by Sam Witwer, in the period between the events of the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels. From his brief appearance in Solo: A Star Wars Story, we know that Maul, no longer using the Darth title, is in charge of the Crimson Dawn crime syndicate during this time. We also know that a Marvel Comics miniseries entitled Star Wars: Shadow of Maul will fill in the narrative gap between the Clone Wars and Maul Shadow Lord beginning this March. The next big live-action content coming from Lucasfilm is the feature film The Mandalorian and Grogu, coming this May, which will take place after Season 3 of the show and feature actor Pedro Pascal returning to the role of Din Djarin. The film is being directed by Jon Favreau, who last helmed The Lion King reimagining for Disney, and co-written by Favreau and Dave Filoni. Other cast members will include Sigourney Weaver as a new character named Colonel Ward of the New Republic, Steve Blum as Zeb Aurelios from Star Wars Rebels, and Jeremy Allen White from The Bear as Rhoda the Hutt. You may remember a baby version of him from the Clone Wars movie. And of course, little Grogu will be around as well. Another animated series called Star Wars Visions Presents The Ninth Jedi will be released later this year, a spin-off of the acclaimed Star Wars Visions anthology series. If you want to prepare for that, you should probably check out Production IG's shorts called The Ninth Jedi from Visions Volume 1 and The Ninth Jedi Child of Hope from Volume 3. On the publishing side of Lucasfilm, the novel Star Wars Outlaws Low Red Moon is about to hit bookstores at the beginning of February, serving as a prequel to the 2024 video game Star Wars Outlaws and focused on the characters of ND5 and Jalen Vrax. Jar Jar Binks will be getting his own one-shot comic book on February 11th, and it's being co-written by actor Ahmed Best himself. Speaking of comics, the newly announced Star Wars Galaxy's Edge Echoes of the Empire miniseries will bring us up to speed on what the Rebel Alliance and the Galactic Empire are doing on Batuu in the upcoming changes to Disneyland's Galaxy's Edge themed area. Coming in mid-July, Star Wars Eyes Like Stars is being billed as the first Star Wars romance novel. And then at the end of that month, we'll get Star Wars Legacy, which will focus on Rey's Jedi training under Leia Organa in between Star Wars Episodes 8 and 9. But this year's new novel that I'm personally most excited for is called Star Wars: Reign of the Empire, Edge of the Abyss, which will serve as a sequel to last year's The Mask of Fear, focusing on the characters of Mon Mothma, Bail Organa, and Saw Gerrera in the period before Andor: A Star Wars Story. In the world of video games, we have Star Wars Zero Company and Star Wars Galactic Racer on the immediate horizon, with Zero Company being an XCOM-like turn-based strategy game, and Galactic Racer looking to become a spiritual successor to the smash hit Star Wars Episode 1 racer game from 1999. That leaves two major projects from Lucasfilm that are already in the can. The first being the highly anticipated second season of Star Wars Ahsoka, for which a release date has not been announced, and director Sean Levy's live-action film Star Wars Starfighter, which is set to hit theaters on May 28th, 2027, just 3 days after the franchise's 50th anniversary. That film will star Ryan Gosling and will be set after the events of the Star Wars sequel trilogy. And speaking of the big 50th, two additional ways we'll be able to celebrate are by seeing the original up on the big screen again on February 19th of next year, and yes, all signs point to this being a remastered version of the original theatrical cut. And then at the beginning of April 2027, right here in sunny Southern California, it will be time for Star Wars Celebration Los Angeles, where I'm sure we'll get plenty more news about the future of a galaxy far, far away. So, even though it often feels like that galaxy is in turmoil, there's still an awful lot to look forward to coming out of Lucasfilm and Star Wars over the next year and a half or so, and there's sure to be plenty more to come under its new leadership. Don't forget, we'll be covering it all right here on the Laughing Place YouTube channel and over at laughingplace.com.